Hey everyone, and welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into something absolutely fascinating: how manipulating two entirely free, fundamental environmental factors can profoundly alter your biology, supercharge your health, and literally hack your body's master clock. We spend so much time hunting for these complex, expensive solutions, but sometimes the absolute most powerful triggers are just built right into nature. So let's jump right into it.
I want you to just think about this for a second. What if the secrets to your cardiovascular health, your daily mood, and even your mental resilience aren't manufactured in a laboratory pill? What if the ultimate health tools are actually just the elemental forces of light and temperature that we encounter, or let's be honest, actively hide from, every single day? We completely overlook what's readily available, but unlocking these tools can fundamentally change how you feel from the literal moment you wake up.
So we're focusing on two vital inputs today: light and cold. And it's truly awe-inspiring when you look at the science here. Our ancient biological systems evolved over millions of years to interpret and react to exactly these natural forces. They're deeply ingrained survival signals. But in our modern, climate-controlled, artificially lit world, we've largely forgotten how to use them. We've insulated ourselves from the very triggers that optimize our bodies. Let's start with light and uncover how our body intimately interacts with the sun.
All right, section 1, the body's master clock. Think of your body as this intricate internal orchestra with dozens of different biological systems that need to play in perfect harmony. Well, light acts as the master conductor, standing right there at the podium, making sure every single instrument plays at the exact right time. Let's talk about melanopsin. Now, we usually think of our eyes purely as cameras, right? Just seeing shapes and colors, relying on rods and cones. But melanopsin is a whole different ballgame. It's this fascinating photopigment located in your retinal ganglion cells. It doesn't actually help you see the shape of your computer monitor. Instead, it acts entirely as a light meter. It specifically hones in on light intensity in the blue light spectrum, right between 460 and 480 nanometers. When it detects that exact wavelength, it tells the brain's suprachiasmatic nucleus, which is your master clock, that the sun is up and it is undeniably daytime. Here's exactly how that retinal pathway works in real time. The very moment that specific blue light enters your eye and gets absorbed by those specialized cells, boom, a super fast electrical signal travels down a direct superhighway straight to the center of your brain. And what happens next is this immediate biological cascade. The brain actively suppresses melatonin, the hormone that makes you feel sleepy, while instantly triggering daytime alertness, focus, and healthy metabolic function. This isn't just about feeling a little less groggy. This pathway is a direct line from your physical environment right down to your cellular energy levels. Moving on to section 2, mastering the light protocol. Let's take all that theory and look at some actionable strategies. How can we actively manipulate this melanopsin pathway to completely optimize our daily energy? 10,000. That is the magic number. To put that massive threshold into perspective, a standard, brightly lit modern office is usually only pumping out about 500 lux. A cloudy day outside might hit 1,000 lux. But to effectively mimic natural, direct sunlight and actually stimulate that circadian rhythm we were just talking about, you need a light therapy lamp capable of delivering a full 10,000 lux. Anything less than that, it just won't have the sheer power to properly flip that biological switch in your brain to tell it morning has officially started. So grab a mental notepad, because here is your exact morning playbook for light therapy. First off, timing is absolutely everything. You want to turn that lamp on early, ideally before 8 a.m., to lock in your master clock for the day. Second, distance matters a lot. You need to sit exactly 16 to 24 inches away. Actually, if you sit too far, the lux drops off exponentially and it's practically useless. Sit too close and it can cause severe eye strain. Third, position it at a 45-degree angle on your desk so it shines towards your eyes indirectly without blinding you. And finally, keep it on for 20 to 30 minutes. Doing this consistently, every single day, is what literally physically builds and solidifies that robust internal clock. Now, a super quick but absolutely crucial safety check before you go setting this up in your home office. Never ever stare directly into a light therapy lamp. You aren't meant to look at it like a television screen. Your eye tissues are really sensitive and need to be protected, so you just want the light entering your periphery while you work, eat breakfast, or check emails. Also, if you have pre-existing eye conditions like glaucoma or you're currently taking any photosensitive medications, you should definitely bypass this protocol entirely and chat with a medical professional first. All right, section 3, fixing a broken sleep schedule. What happens if your circadian rhythm is already a total mess?
Say you've been working night shifts or traveling across time zones, and you're trying to shift from waking up at 4 p.m. all the way back to a normal 8 a.m. wake time. There are two main ways people typically try to fix a broken sleep schedule, and I gotta tell you, one of them is incredibly dangerous. The first is the phase advance method. This is the gold standard. It's where you safely and gradually shift your wake time earlier by just 1 to 2 hours every few days. You anchor that new wake time by pairing it with the intense morning light therapy we just learned about. The alternative? Chronotherapy. This is an outdated, frankly punishing method of forcing yourself to stay awake and sleep 3 hours later and later each day until you literally loop all the way around the 24-hour clock. Pushing your body forward like that causes severe, dangerous circadian misalignment. The data here is just startling. Just 3 days of severe circadian disruption, which is exactly what you'd experience using chronotherapy, causes major cardiovascular distress. Just look at these spikes. A 3-point increase in systolic blood pressure and a 1.5-point increase in diastolic might not sound like a huge deal, but over time, that really damages your blood vessels. Even worse, your body triggers a massive 29% increase in inflammatory markers. Your heart is incredibly vulnerable to when you sleep, not just how much you sleep. Forcing your body completely out of its natural rhythm throws it into a profound state of biological stress. Section 4. The cold exposure advantage. We're going to shift our narrative now. We've spent all this time exploring how light entering our eyes dictates our internal clocks, but let's pivot to the profound neurochemical and metabolic responses triggered by cold temperatures hitting our skin. 11. That's our next magic number. And thankfully, it reveals a surprisingly low threshold of just 11 minutes per week of deliberate cold exposure needed to drastically boost your metabolism and resilience. Yep, you heard that right. You don't need to move to the Arctic or live in a chest freezer to get the benefits. Spreading just 11 total minutes across 2 to 4 short sessions a week is more than enough to see incredible, highly measurable changes in your health. Let's break down the actual chemical rush happening in your body the second you step into the cold. First, your system reacts with this immediate, massive spike of epinephrine and norepinephrine, so adrenaline. Plunging into 4 degrees Celsius water for just 20 seconds shoots your adrenaline sky high, giving you a sharp boost in raw energy and focus. But if you opt for a more sustained, moderate exposure, like spending time in 15 degrees Celsius water, you get a massive, prolonged release of dopamine. We are talking about an elevation in mood and focus that rivals prescription medications, lasting for hours and hours after you dry off. Furthermore, regular cold exposure actually converts stubborn, inactive white fat into metabolically active brown fat. That's a special type of tissue that literally burns calories just to generate heat and keep you warm. It's wild. But the benefits aren't just metabolic, right? There's a massive psychological component to this practice too. Dr. Andrew Huberman calls this the counting walls framework. When you get into freezing water, your brain immediately starts screaming at you to get out. That intense urge to flee, that is a mental wall. Instead of just setting a timer and gritting your teeth, you treat that urge to exit as a deliberate psychological tool. By exercising top-down control and consciously pushing through 3 to 5 of these mental walls per session, you are literally training your prefrontal cortex to remain calm, composed, and logical during real-world high-stress situations. You are practicing grit in real time. And when you finally do conquer the cold and get out, you need to follow the Soberg principle. This principle dictates that you should always end your session on cold and allow your body to reheat totally naturally. Don't immediately grab a hot towel, don't jump into a steaming shower, or rush to the sauna. Why? Well, because enduring the shiver releases a specific molecule called succinate from your shivering muscles. Think of succinate like a chemical messenger that knocks on the door of your brown fat and says, hey, turn on the furnace. If you use external heat to warm up, you short-circuit that entire metabolic process. You really have to let your body do the hard work of warming itself up. Finally, Section 5, your daily wellness routine. Let's take all this fascinating science, everything we've unpacked today about our environment, and synthesize it into the ultimate biohacker's playbook for your daily life. Let's pull the whole shebang together. Okay, here is your highly actionable master checklist to take back your biology. First thing in the morning, wake up and immediately get 15 to 30 minutes of natural sunlight, or use a 10,000 lux therapy lamp at a safe distance. Follow that up by stepping into a cold shower or a cold plunge for 1 to 5 minutes of deliberate cold exposure, remembering to always end on cold and let yourself shiver to naturally reheat. Later in the day, support your heart and your sleep cycle by avoiding harsh overhead blue light completely after 4 p.m. This lets your natural melatonin rise unimpeded. And finally, solidify that internal conductor by maintaining your exact wake schedule every single day. Yes, for sure, even on the weekends. So I'll leave you with this final thought to ponder. You now have the complete playbook. You know the exact mechanisms of your master clock, you understand the retinal pathways, and you know exactly how to ignite your metabolic fat-burning engines. The environment is sitting right there, waiting to optimize your biology. The question is, will you step into the light and embrace the cold tomorrow morning? Thanks for hanging out with me on this explainer, and I'll see you next time.